Hello and welcome to Las Vegas Pitch Presents. I'm here with a wonderful Lianna Alvarez, LA Real Estate Group owner. And Lianna, next year, we've had such a crazy year this year.
Yeah.
Lots of things happened. Rates went up, values, inventory has been a mess. We've had values actually kind of creep up a little bit. You've been doing this 15 years.
Yeah.
You've been in Las Vegas since you were 2 years old.
Yes.
Yes, so not that long.
Not that long. Like 20 years.
And then, but I want to I want to see what your take is because you are really diving deep into the market. I want to see what your thoughts are for 2024, what you predict for 2024.
My crystal ball.
Your crystal ball, if you had to guess.
Well, it's never perfect, but obviously I think a lot of people in this last year thought that it was going to be a much slower year. We haven't seen that. We've seen a lot of transactions and we see that. I think that's going to continue on. Obviously inventory is still low. It's crept up slightly in the last 3 months, but we're talking from like 2.3 months of inventory to 2.6. I think we're going to continue with that low inventory, which is really in our market being so reactive and so quick, it's really going to continue to affect our prices and valuations. So I still see 2024 as being a really strong year. We've started to see the interest rates slightly come down a little bit.
Actually a percent over the last 45 days.
Which is huge.
Which is big.
Yes. And I think that'll probably continue, especially kind of coming into Q2 of next year. I don't think we're going to have a huge increase in in inventory. So I think that's going to continue to support, the valuation staying strong. If the interest rates come down, we're going to start seeing probably multiple offers. I'm already starting to see that a little bit on properties that are in great condition and that are priced well.
Yeah. Inventory to me is probably one of the biggest issues that we have. Because when you don't have enough homes for people to buy, it just brings prices going up.
Correct.
So I saw last year where when the values were going, or when the interest rates were going up, there was a lot of seller concessions for a while.
Correct.
Then they went away. And now it feels like they're coming back. Do you see that happening more and more? Or do you think they're going to go away because we saw a drop in interest rates?
I think if you see a drop in interest rates, you're going to have more buyers, obviously. So you're going to have more competition. More competition is going to be less seller concessions. So as soon as we start seeing those interest rates come down even a little bit further, a lot of those buyers that wanted to wait for a lower interest rate, maybe they couldn't qualify at the higher rates, they're going to jump back in the market, and then you're going to just have that more higher competition.
Right.
So those seller concessions are definitely going to start to drop off as well. And I have already started to see that.
You've seen that drop off. So historically, the wintertime, people kind of hibernate. They get back in their house and they kind of rest. They watch some of the football games. You have Super Bowl. When do you think there's a window where buyers can actually get a pretty good deal right now? Or do you think it's pretty much going to be whatever the market tells us?
So I disagree with that. I don't think that the winter time is a slow time. Yes. And the reason for that, I think there is a slowdown statistically in transactions, but I honestly think that's because most agents go MIA. They, from Thanksgiving to New Year's,
they take a vacation.
They take a vacation. They're not pushing. For us, historically, Q4 is usually one of our busiest quarters. Obviously, I grew up here, so family's here, so I'm not typically leaving. I work, and we're having a fantastic December. So I do think that right now, buyers and sellers that are in the market now are more serious. Somebody that's willing to move at this time frame. Also, you have investors that maybe need to get into something for tax planning purposes, so they're pushing to get closed before the end of the year. Maybe you have owner-occupied buyers that need to be here for employment starting the beginning of January 1, or the first month of January. So I do think that the buyers and sellers right now are more serious. To me, it's always about, and I always tell clients, it's not about timing it with the market. It's about timing it to your life. What do you need and what's the best timing for you?
Yeah.
Because we can always make a deal work and make it beneficial for all parties.
That's such a good thing. Timing for you, not the market.
Exactly.
And I do believe that there, just historically, you do see different things, but we're in such an unusual time period right now with the interest rates. And there is a statistic out there that a 1% drop in interest rates can bring back in anywhere between 3.5 to 5 million home buyers nationally just because of affordability. Now, that's not everyone's going to go out and buy, right? But we've already seen a drop of 1%. So we're starting to see more and more people get pre-approved, get ready to jump in and get it. I personally believe there's a little bit of a window for home buyers right now. Sellers want to sell. The sellers that have their houses listed for sale, guess what? They want to sell their house, right?
100%.
And so we aren't seeing quite as many buyers, but those buyers that are active right now, I think this is a great time to get in and buy a house.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the 1% interest rate is a huge adjustment on payment. So even if you're looking at 1% adjustment on the interest rate, and then you're doing an additional buy down, it puts you, a buyer, into an even stronger position to qualify for more house instead of being restricted to smaller price points and maybe not exactly what they want.
So looking forward into 2024, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, if you had to use again your crystal ball, what do you see for that going forward?
Like in terms of,
is it dependent upon interest rates? Is it dependent upon the election? Is it dependent upon what are things? And obviously we're not going to get political on this thing.
I know, I try never to wrap into politics, but historically they always do try to push interest rates. They say one doesn't tie into the other, but I have always seen interest rates kind of dip down in election years to kind of stimulate that activity. So I do think come, quarter two, quarter three, we're definitely going to have an increase in valuation as well as an increase in transactions. Everything's relative, right? So once one happens, I don't think we're going to have huge increases of inventory, just because you have to have sellers that either are relocating out of state or are willing to give up a low interest rate mortgage for something higher because of a need, like a family need, right?
So there's a lot of people that have bought their homes. They've got the 3, 4, 4, 5% interest rate, and they're like, gosh, I can't find what I want, right? Do you think there's like a threshold where interest rates have to drop to where that inventory, the people that are in their house that need more or that want to downsize, but they don't want to give that up? What is that threshold to where there might be more inventory? Because to me, I go back to supply and demand. I think it's inventory. When will that inventory come in?
I think I would say probably under 6%. I think that's the comfort level that individuals, obviously interest rates right now aren't like the highest that they've ever been, but I feel like that's kind of the comfort level for, just people in general, that they feel like it's more of a typical or normal interest rate. So I think once we see the interest rates below 6%, we're going to have an increase of inventory. Slight one, not a huge one, but we're also going to have more buyers.
Enough to make the market move a little bit more, make it a little bit more active. People moving up, people moving and downsizing, whatever it is.
Because a lot of people are like, oh, well, I'm going to wait for values to drop. Values are going to drop. Values are not going to drop in this market.
They're not dropping.
They are not going to drop. We would have to have so many properties come on the market, like thousands of property hit the market at once to see a depreciation in values. We're a unique market, I think, in Las Vegas, where our typical annual appreciation is typically around, 4 to 6%, which is a great appreciation. Individuals that are waiting for this huge drop, it's just not going to come. So if you're waiting for that, you're waiting for nothing.
Don't wait. And I think, honestly, the days of the 3%, the 4% are gone. And they may be gone for good. I've been doing this 30 years. So if I had to kind of take a guess, I believe the norm will be between 5.5% and 6.5% when inflation gets back under control. And inflation has gone down tremendously over that time period. So I think we're going to have it. All right, Lianna, last words for someone that is thinking about buying a home. What would you recommend they do right now?
Buy now.
Buy now. Oh, that was easy.
Buy now. Do it now. Get out there. Start looking. Make sure you get pre-approved first before you start looking with this guy. But yeah, make sure you look at the numbers, see what you qualify for. And if it works, there's no reason to wait. Make the decision for your family now.
Well, Lianna, thanks as always. We'll
Yay.
see you next time on Las Vegas Pitch Presents. Bye, everybody.
Bye.